Now, my channel receives questions virtually every day on the 3,100 videos that are posted out there. Some of them are as old as 10 years old. Some of them are on videos we post on a daily basis. We try to post a new video almost every day. And some of them have good technical information. Some of them are just for enjoyment, joining us on rides, or just hanging out with everybody at the bagel store. But it mostly would concern two giant topics: the passion for motorcycling and a passion for paintwork. Custom paintwork, custom working on motorcycles. We try to share what we know, and not only what we know, but information that comes in through our channel to other people. It's been real positive for over 10 years now. We have over 3,100 subscribers, and so far it looks like the great majority of people do enjoy the channel, and thank you, of course, for your support. Now, in the past, we've been able to share a lot of useful information, and I've gotten a lot of feedback from people, nice feedback, and thank you one and all, from people that have really benefited from things like the shut the check engine light off, I think, but I'm not sure. It was about 32,000 hits on that, and people send me nice emails and comments all the time. And we have one, a controversial one that I'm going to deal with somewhere on this video. We have a video that has, it's an 8-year-old video that has 440,000 hits, and somebody made a comment that I think I'm compelled to answer. We'll do that on this video and try to share some other comments, pictures, and a few funny stories. So before we even get started, I wanted to mention something that may make sense. Basically, everybody that rides motorcycles has an interest in one or more parts of motorcycling. I have a pretty diversified interest in older bikes, historic bikes. I like to rebuild them, repaint them, do the things that I enjoy doing. But not everybody does. And some people have a one-dimension view of motorcycling. And sometimes they post a comment that, to me, it's not important. It's just that they have a less diverse interest. And we're going to deal with some of that later in the video, too. Let's get downstairs where it's a lot cooler. So I wanted to start off with what I think is some really useful information that anybody that works on old motorcycles either already knows, or maybe this will help. And of course, I've learned this the hard way. This is good information. Recently, I got an email from a fellow named Steven in Arizona. He's got a GS 1100, and he had a question. He wanted one of the switches that was for the turn signals. I looked out in the garage. I didn't have one in my stash of stuff or on my parts bike. I don't know why that part is not on the handlebars, and maybe I used it already years ago and I forgot. But he couldn't find it anywhere on eBay or Partzilla or anywhere, or from Suzuki, so that's off the table. So a couple of days went by. I got a nice pictures of his bike, and I'll share them right at the end of this segment. But here's a real good question, and this is something a lot of people really don't realize you can do this. He was putting, let me just demonstrate, he was putting the carbs back on the bike. He did some work on the engine, apparently. He went to put the carbs back on the bike, and these are GS carbs, so I can relate to what he's saying. But this is exactly what happens with older bikes, and sometimes it works to your favor, sometimes not so much. He wanted to get the 4 individual boots that connect this to the engine. And when you look down at them, he wanted to know, he asked me, and I didn't know, if they're all the same, or typically on 4-cylinder Japanese bikes, these are straight and these have a little bit of an angle. So there's 2 different part numbers. And I said, well, you know, the best way I know to identify if they're all the same or if they're interchangeable, you wouldn't want to put the ones with the curve in the middle. And a lot of this is common sense, but still, it's always nice to know you're right before you spend hours and hours and hours. And putting these carbs back on the bike, if you do it yourself on a cold day when the manifolds are really hard or with old rubber parts, it's a big job. Better to have a couple of, maybe a bunch of friends over. But anyway, he did the research and figured it out. But I thought one of the ways you could do this, and I've done this in the past with other things, is just go to Partzilla, to the SKU, look up the model and year of the bike, and see if they're all 4 the same part number. If they are, then it won't matter which one goes where. If these 2 are one part number, the 2 on the end are a different one, well, you can figure that out. And if you have this one over here, I guess you just turn it upside down. But a lot of times, like on an RD, there's a little detent on here, so you can't put this one where it connects to the airbox. It kind of locks itself in. But anyway, that's a good trick to know, and it serves, and there's a lot of other things you can use it for. I used it recently. I wanted to buy brake pads for the old Ninja, and I found out, oh, yeah, Partzilla lists it as a part number. I wanted real Kawasaki parts, and I didn't want to have aftermarket parts. And what happened was, I wasn't aware right up to that point that on an old Kawasaki, the left and the right are different pads. You don't buy two sets the same. That's the kind of information saves you a lot of grief, a lot of heartache. And Stephen, I know you're going to get the bike back together and have some pictures to us soon, but that's the kind of thing that'll help. Now, another thing that helps, and Stephen already did this, is just contact by email or by the forums or whatever. Somebody else has the same bike as you have, and they may have information that'll save you hour after hour after hour. And that's one of the things I like about the channel, when we can share useful information.
Now, this is a picture Stephen shared, and he got rid of the seat already. He said he wasn't crazy about the seat. I have a custom Suzuki seat. I don't like it either. I like the stock seat, if you can possibly get your hands on one.
Now, a friend for almost my whole lifetime, Les McDonald. He's a world-class modeler, needless to say, and he's been riding bikes. He's the reason, one of the reasons I bought the MT-09, and I saw how much fun he had with his over the years. He sent me pictures, all the mods he made and everything. He just got a new bike. I've shared it on previous videos, but I'll put a quick picture at the end of this too, in case you missed some of those. All of my friends that are modelers, and I've gotten so many positive responses to the modeling videos, and they all have over 1,000 hits within the first week, so I'm real happy about that. But here's the other thing. When somebody has a bike that's a friend of yours, and in my case it's Luciano, or it could be any person that I trust their opinion, and Luciano buys a bike and I get to ride it, and I said, wow, I really like this bike. This is a great bike. So what happened when Luciano was trying to sell one of the recent bikes, the Ninja, and we've got this on the channel. In fact, there's a picture of it. My neighbor 3-4 houses down, Donnie, bought the bike from him, and now every morning, every night, he's going up and down a block having a ball with it. And I know everything Luciano has ever rebuilt and sold has been in absolutely top quality, and Donnie's bike is a good example of that. But having friends that you can trust their opinion, to me, that's worth its weight in gold.
Here's some pictures shared by Les McDonald. This, I guess, is his. Yes, that's his bike. This is one of his newer bikes, and I'm not sure. This is the new one. This is the brand new one. But that's not the brand new one I've posted before. This is, I think, I'm pretty sure this is his FZ09, and he had sent me so many pictures of the mods, and because we're both fellow modelers, passionate about modeling, I trusted his opinion when I bought my MT-09.
Now, when you make a video and you go to post it on YouTube, a lot of times you don't know, is this going to be something popular, something that you've passed on good information, or that you've just made something entertaining, and that's okay too, or something that's funny, and that's probably the best of all. But the videos I made, and there are several of them out there, of recovering motorcycle seats. We did Ducatis, we did Ninjas, we did R1s, FZRs, there's a lot of them. Well, some of them have over 100,000 hits already, and this is one of the more popular ones, has 58,000 hits, and here comes a question that I didn't even know, and this is the kind of information worth passing on a video like this. And the fellow's name is HV600, and he watched the video, and he went and tried to do his own seat, and he went and bought marine vinyl, thinking maybe that'll be more, I guess, durable or whatever, but it's not stretchable. And he didn't realize at the time that there are two types of vinyl. You can look at the back of the vinyl and you see a little weave of, looks like thread, and then there's vinyl. It's the same on both sides. Well, some vinyl, the ones that don't have the little web on the back, are very hard or impossible to stretch around corners. Now, the ones that stretch easy, and you can always ask the person at Joann Fabric which is stretchable and which isn't. If you're doing a motorcycle seat, you probably want stretchable vinyl. But all of those videos that are on the channel, and again, if you're on this channel and you have any topic at all, you can search my channel with the keyword where it says search and a little looking glass. Put the word recover seat and all of these videos come up. And by the way, that is the kind of information that I enjoy sharing because it saves people a lot of grief, a lot of heartache. And to be honest, it's something. It doesn't cost me a penny to make the video, and it doesn't cost them a penny to watch it. And we both have something to be happy about at the end of it.
Now, these are some photos shared by James Skinner. He has a GS 1100E under restoration. He lives right near Island Dragway where I used to hang out a lot as a kid, and a young man. Kid, not sure. Anyway, I don't follow drag racing like I did in the past, but he invited me to come up to his house when his restoration is finished, and maybe even go check out a night of Island Dragway racing and see his GS 1100. Well, James, I accept your invitation, and as soon as your restoration is done, I will come up and do a photo shoot. We can add it to one of our videos, and I'll go down with you and check out the drag race in action and relive my youth, drag racing at Island Dragway. Thank you.
Now here's some real good information from our friend Guy. Guy, he's been on many of the videos. Super cool guy. He got a Triumph a dedicated track bike, and he's gone to, I think, 3 or 4 track days already. I haven't been keeping count, but he's addicted to it already. I know the feeling. And of course, when he got the bike, there were some things he didn't have to learn about it and things he wanted to change. He added a shifter light, and I went over the video he took from his first track day. Not having a shifter light, a little bit of a handicap. And he's having fun. He's got a channel. I'll post that up somewhere. I'll try to get the link to his channel, but as of right now, I don't think the videos are edited, but I'll find out. Anyway, this is a good tip if you have a Triumph 675. And when the clutch switch, there's a switch at the clutch that engages and disengages. He wanted to just disengage it since he's not riding on the street. When you do that, the traction the quick shifter doesn't work. So I don't know exactly how that played out. Next time I see Guy, I'm going to try to get him to, he's a car mechanic by trade, so he would know about that, certainly a lot more than me. But keep in mind, anytime you have these interconnected switches, now I have one on my Green Ninja that I disconnected, and you can't start the bike now unless the protocol is crazy. So I went back, took the switch off the track bike, and put it back. It just was too inconvenient the way I had it. But if you're stuck on the road and that switch breaks, and usually those switches have the tiniest little contacts, but anytime you turn the key and the bike won't start, there's one on a side stand, there's usually one on a clutch, and there's usually a maybe, I don't know when you have a quick shifter where else that plays out. The MT-09, so far I haven't had any issues, but Guy, that is a great tip.
And our longtime channel follower and friend, Corey Vader, this is pictures of his new Katana, and he said he had to drive a long way to go get it, but there was one available, and the guy made him an offer he couldn't refuse, and I know all about that offer you can't refuse. Some of my bikes got here that way too, and that is a sweet looking bike. That is definitely one I would not mind adding to my collection in the future. Congratulations, Corey.
Now, a gentleman named William sent out what I think is, well, it's information. It's good, general, solid information. He saw me drilling something on a video, and he said that I wasn't using cutting oil, and he probably knows a lot more about it than I do. Even though I was partners in a machine shop for 11 years, what happened is, sometimes I just go to take the shortcut and forget about the cutting oil. But the cutting oil, when you're drilling holes, especially on hardened parts, it will save the drills, and it'll save you some aggravation too. And William, that is a good tip. And I'm sure a lot of people don't know it. It's the kind of thing, sometimes it's basic general information, Machine Shop 101, and even though I was involved, and I forgot to put it on the video, but it is good information. Thank you for sharing, William. Now another thing, a fellow named Shane, and this is where I think this is the most important thing you can share with your friends who are new to motorcycling. If you're a seasoned rider, an accomplished rider, and you've been through the mill already, and many of us have, believe me. Shane, he lives in Alabama, and he watched some videos and made a very nice comment. He says, why don't we just ride in shorts? And so I don't want to offend anybody, needless to say. I have different opinions. I value my safety maybe more than younger people do. I don't know. But I suggested to Shane that he might want to consider other things beside riding in shorts, getting some inexpensive gear and riding when it's a little bit cooler in the morning or the evening, or finding shady roads, which is all on the videos that I post. But Shane answered me back that he's going to check with the forum and see what other people think. Now, I'm sure there are other opinions to this. I see guys riding all the time in shorts and their underwear and flip-flops, and sometimes you see a guy riding with gear on and his girlfriend's in her underwear on the back seat with the cereal bowl helmet. Not for me anyway. And Shane, I'm really hoping you took my advice to heart and that you'll pass that information on. And if you happen to see one of your friends or co-riders in a serious accident, I think the next thing you'll be thinking about is maybe getting some gear. And I hope that saved your bacon.
Now, my friend Henry Hawk, he is such an accomplished rider, and he loves all motorcycles, but I know he really loves Moto Guzzies, and he's got a few of them, and he sends me pictures. His last ride that he went on was 8,900 miles, and I got pictures every day, and boy, it was wonderful. I think, and I'm not sure, that this is one of his Moto Guzzies, because he sends me pictures of Moto Guzzies he wants to add to his collection, and he wants my opinion. My opinion is, if you got the money, just add them all. Build a bigger garage or whatever. And that's my point. If you like a certain bike, why not? Don't let anybody tell you what to ride. These bikes, there's another one he sent me, and there's other ones. And it's a super important thing in motorcycling not to let other people tell you what bike to enjoy or ride. Ride the bike you like. Joe Roselli is famous for saying that, and I have taken it to heart. It's probably the smartest thing I've ever heard from a fellow motorcyclist. Ride the bike you like.
Now, other useful information, and this is the kind of thing, again, I think it's useful, and it's something you can take to your advantage. Many of my bikes, at some point in time, I'll use the FCR for an example. I bought the FCR, and it had a rough service life. It had already been in an accident. It had a lot of other things wrong with it, but one of the things it had, right from the get-go, it had warped brake rotors. And you'd go to give it the front brake and apply it, and the lever would be pulsing and very annoying. Well, I replaced the rotors, and that solved the problem. But years later, I said, I really want to know what the cure is. And I had heard from a lot of people that do know that the buttons had frozen up, and you could free them up. And I looked at a couple of videos, and I said, let me try this. I was taking the bike apart to repaint the whole bike. And so I had the wheels off and everything, so this was easy to do. And when I did that, I said, oh, that solved the problem. Now I made a video of how it worked for me. Doesn't work every time, because there can be modern rotors, the edge is convoluted like that. And where they warp is right at the very edge. But I bet a lot of people have thrown away hundreds of dollars worth of rotors when maybe they just had to free up the buttons. But anyway, I got a lot of nice comments. Again, I went back, and this video had 26,000 hits. Now, I have to confess something. And I feel bad about this. When I started this channel, and it was over 10 years ago, I was still working full-time, and I still had rental property to deal with and collecting rents, and I was in the mafia back then and everything. So it was really a lot of things. And I used to post the videos on YouTube, but I never ever answered the comments for about the first 5 years. Of course, I didn't have the time, and I didn't have the inclination either, because we were just sharing fun things and fun rides. And now, it turns out, and I didn't realize this would happen, I thought 8 years later, 10 years later, nobody would look at these videos. Well, it's anything but that. This 26,000 people have been looking at it. And I went back and looked at all the comments, and I said, oh, I bet a lot of people think I blew them off. Well, I really didn't. I just didn't have the time. But now I answer every single comment. So if you post a comment, I will answer it. Good, bad, whether you like the video or you don't like it or you're bored. And there's always somebody, and when we're talking about this, there's always somebody, and I won't mention any names ever, they have something negative to say, and I'm not interested in, you don't like black motorcycles, I don't like white motorcycles, and we can never be friends. I don't get into that. I don't even want to know about it. If somebody does not like the videos, please don't watch them. That's my answer. Or if they think they're too long, I had somebody send me a really long comment about my videos being too long. I read the comment and I said, you know, it took me too long to read the comment. You could have put it in 2 words and just said, you know, I don't like it, and unsubscribe from the channel. I don't care. We're trying to share useful information. We're trying to have a good time with our passion for motorcycling. And I'm not running for political office, and you don't have to like me. You don't have to like my bikes. We could still be friends.
Stephen Walker from Australia, he's been a good friend many years. We've exchanged pictures many, many years. And he takes and rides the train in Australia from Brisbane to wherever his job is and watches windy videos. So he's got to be a really intelligent guy. And he sends me pictures of kangaroos from time to time. This is his Tracer. And he was trying to do some upgrades on it, and I gave him some suggestions. And using a Harbor Freight gun seems to work for everybody. I don't think you need expensive equipment as long as you're going to buff out the paint. He had an R1. I remember he painted some wheels and had to repaint them. Now this one, he says he was painting and some rain got on his clear. And I do remember that happened to me. So Stephen, you're not alone. But anyway, the Tracer looks like, and my opinion with the Tracer was, every time you paint a part that's flat black, shiny blue, the bike looks better. I think at the end of it, he was inclined to agree with me. Stephen, the bike looks great.
So we always have what I call the random comments that I always try to answer on the channel with a few sentences, but they really deserve a longer answer. Now, a fellow named Frank described his tail section project and how I could upgrade mine, and they were all good comments, and I will use that the next time I do a similar project. And Frank, always thank you for sharing. That'll all be on a video the next time I use, and I always try to credit the people who have given me either ideas or technology or whatever, and I try never to steal anybody's thunder. Now, a person named John B. John B, you are so right. I agree with this 1,000%. As you get older, you start out, you buy a motorcycle, you're young. You want clip-ons, a hard seat, and you want a rough suspension. As you get older, you want higher bars, softer suspension, but you still want the performance. And there's ways you can have both, the best of both worlds. My R1 is a good example. You can scare the bejesus out of yourself and still not have a bike that's uncomfortable or not fun to ride or whatever. So your comment that he loves how the bars have gone higher and the pegs have gone lower as you age, you're absolutely right. Now I got a couple other little ones here that I wanted to, RD Enduro. This is good information, as I started the video off with. He had a has a 650 Suzuki, and wondered if the 650 Ninja's the same. Very similar, and again, it's personal choice. I have ridden both of them. I've ridden both of Ray's. I've ridden other people's. Luciano had one recently, and they are very similar to the Ninja. Now, it's a personal choice thing. I like the styling of the Ninja better. That's just me. They both have the similar amount of power. They're both great handling bikes. They both have excellent brakes. They're both comfortable. And how you set them up with the suspension and the seating and the bars, that's all personal. But they're both great bikes. And a lot of people, when they get into a controversial thing, you say, well, my bike's better than yours. My bike's faster. My bike's older. My bike's this or that. The answer sometimes is they're both good. In fact, a lot of times it is. And RD Enduro, that's a nice handle. Anyway, both bikes, if we had both of them here and you rode them back and forth 100 miles on each bike, by the end of the day, you'd probably agree with me. Maybe you already agree with me. I don't know.
I've had to answer several people who just didn't know what an evil twin was, and here's an example of an evil twin. My RD 400, and just a quick walk around. Over the years, I've had one bike with several different seats, different exhausts, different engine parts, different handlebars, different headlight, different shocks, different paintwork, and I call that an evil twin. That was just information for anybody who hears me say during these videos what an evil twin is and doesn't know what an evil twin is. Pretty much a lot of my bikes are evil twins. And hey, we got some cool two-stroke videos coming out real soon.
And of course, there's always the person who is not happy for whatever reason, and he watched the video of me posting the Windex as a good way of making breaking the bead easier, especially if you use a Motion Pro tool. Save your rims, save your energy, save your money. And he was unhappy. He said the first 7 minutes of the video are boring, and then he learned something that he can put in the bank and probably use for the rest of his life. Over his lifetime, save $1,000 instead of taking his rims to dealers. But he was unhappy. And I offered him his money back. Well, you know where that's going. But when people send a comment like that, sometimes you have to think this through. If you watch a video and you didn't learn anything, you watch, and maybe 99% of the stuff I watch on TV, I didn't learn anything or save any money or whatever. It doesn't matter. Your time is not, you're not a brain surgeon, and if you waste 7 minutes, your Tesla payment isn't made. Well, let me tell you, I have, and I'm just using my opinion now, this is just my opinion, I have watched hundreds of YouTube how-to videos, hitting the high points, changing the ice maker in my refrigerator probably saved me $400, $500, $600. The check engine light in my Volkswagen, and several of the other things in my cars. My cars are 15 years old. Several of the things saved me a trip to the dealer where I'd have to pay $100 or $150 minimum, or some other crazy issue. If you think at a time, the total time you spend watching tutorial videos, and then how much money you save and make like an accounting thing, sometimes you come out way ahead. And if nothing else, you save yourself the time, and time is always of the essence. Now, we're coming up near the end here, and I kind of saved this one for the end.
And right in the beginning of starting my channel years and years ago, 10 years ago, posting pictures and videos of my Ferrari FZR was so much fun. And apparently, some people don't share the humor.
And it's controversial. I know everybody doesn't agree with me, and it's okay. We could still be friends. I've said that already. This is an 8-year-old video. The gentleman watched it, and it was about the Ferrari. It's a 2-minute video. In the beginning of posting Ferrari videos, we were having fun with the Ferrari, and we were telling everybody that Ferrari really made motorcycles, and everybody up on Bear Mountain thought that was cool, Pokey especially. And Luciano got into talking with an Italian accent at the gas station, saying, "Oh, you gotta buy, only Italians can buy Ferrari motorcycles and stuff." We went to track day and did that. It was really funny. But anyway, some people don't find it funny. That's an insult. Maybe they have some affinity to Italian motorcycles or something. They don't see the humor. But it's okay. So this gentleman had, that's terrible, I think it's terrible. And I asked him, my reply was that when Ducati made the Lamborghini version of their bike, was he offended by that? And as always happens, he never responded.
So thanks everybody for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it, and hope you did enjoy the video, of course. We have 13,000 plus subscribers now. I hope you'll take a second or two, hit the like button, and of course, enjoy whatever phase of motorcycling you enjoy, and enjoy it to the max. And whether it's on the track or in the woods or just hanging out with friends. And thanks so much for watching. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit the like button if you did, and thank you so much for watching.